Hello and welcome to another Parts Factory installation tutorial video. Today we're going to be chucking this alternator on this Honda Accord. This tutorial works for both the Accord, CR-V, some Odysseys, and that's about it. I think this particular engine is the 2.4 litre petrol 4-cylinder. There are two types of alternators. You want to, if you are thinking about purchasing this product from us, you want to be making sure that the one that you require is bolted from the front, pops up against the engine like that, and the bolts go through the side like that, instead of the bolts, the alternator coming in on the front of the motor and the bolts going through, like one that way, two on the bottom. And make sure that the alternator you require is the north-south version, not the east-west version. Okay, this job's pretty straightforward. There are three main bolts, 1, 2, and 3. There is one single plug here and a main positive wire that bolts onto the back of the alternator. I expect this task will take around 25 minutes. We'll have to loosen off the fan belt, move it out of the way, undo the 3 bolts, plug off, main terminal wire off, and obviously swap out the alternator for the new one. The challenge we'll face today is finding enough space in front of the alternator to get to the bolts without, scratching up our hands. I'm going to see if it's the best method to take the thermofans first. If it is easy to remove the thermofans, I would highly advise doing that before trying to get to these bolts with a ratchet. Alright, now if you are interested in a product like this, don't forget, we have them on the website at www.partsfactoryoz.com.au. I believe the current price is $150 Australian. That is of April 2021. Before we go any further, guys, I wanted to remind you about the hashtag PartsFactoryOz questionnaire online social media little thing I've got going on. I've already had a few people do it, which is pretty cool. They'll post on their social media page, hashtag PartsFactoryOz. I'm having this drama with this particular part of my car. What would you suggest might fix the issue? Or something like that. You know, it's basically having having a free online mechanic at any time. And yeah, it obviously helps with our exposure as well to the market. All right, guys, let's get into the fit. Okay, so there's your alternator. Now, with one bolt here, 2 on the bottom, but you can obviously see here that it's quite tight, and the best way to get to the bottom bolts is probably going to be undoing 1, 2, 3 of these 10mm bolts, pulling this plug on the fan, thinking about removing this radiator pipe, just popping it off, moving it out of the way, and pulling out these thermofans just to get a little bit more room. I'll try that out now. 1, 2, we got one here, 3. Right, so the next step is we're going to undo this top high pressure water pipe. Which that pipe off. God. Okay, so pipe comes off. We'll chuck that out of the way. Now, you guys will have this much easier because I can hardly get into my plugs and etc, but you kind of just pull up on that, pull that little hose off, and yeah, look, unfortunately guys, I'm going to have to break mine. This is a scrap car, so it doesn't actually matter for me, but this little pipe's going to stop me from getting that fan out. Obviously you don't need to do that, but I'm going to. And your radiator fan will now lift out. So it seems that the tensioner is a 14mm. I'm going to want to put the 14mm on the tensioner and just work out what way it wants to rotate. It doesn't want to rotate anti-clockwise, it looks like it wants to rotate clockwise. Okay, so you can see here I've got my little spanner down on that tensioner pulley, and you can see as I rotate to the right, that belt gets loose for a second. I want you to set up I want you to set up your 14mm, chuck your 14mm on that little pulley, rotate it to the right, and remove this fan belt from the power steering pump. So we just tuck it to the side. We leave the ratchet there all in position. We don't want to muck with anything we don't have to. Okay, so now that we've removed our thermofans, you can see now how much extra room we have to get into this area. So just to get the ball rolling again, I'm going to pull off this plug here. I'm going to use my pliers to separate this wire off the back of the alternator, just moving it over to the side for now. Then we're going to get the 12mm and we're going to start to undo the bottom bolts on the alternator. So you've got 2 down the bottom and 1 on the top here. Okay, once you have the bottom bolts undone, place them both out of the way, and as you can see, the alternator now drops to the side. We can pull the main positive terminal wire off the back with a 10mm, making sure we don't drop the nut as we pull it off. There's the 10mm there, using your finger. You can put the 10mm back up with all your other bolts. And at this point, you can now pull the positive wire off and move it to the side. Okay, so now that we have the alternator just sitting there, not actually attached to anything, you can see that it's just this aircon pipe that keeps it in. I'm going to try and pull it out this way. And as you can see, the alternator is now out. Okay guys, here are your 2 alternators. Obviously the one on the right is the one we've just removed. As you can see, it's an exact replica of the OEM Honda part. However, with our manufacturing processes, we actually make sure that whatever it is about the original OEM alternator that caused, I guess you would call it, premature failure, is actually worked out to the best of our ability. We make sure that our parts actually outperform the OEM parts relative to the price, of course. We can expect that our 3-year warranty for our car parts is pretty much never tested, which is excellent news. But of course, for our customers' peace of mind, all of our parts at Parts Factory Australia are covered under a 3-year warranty, which is lovely as standard. Alright, let's throw it back on. Right, so when you're ready to throw your alternator back on, you want to make sure that it's facing plugged to the front, and we can just weave it through this hole. As there's no oil on it, it'll be easier, and obviously we won't have to lift it. We're just dropping it into that little hole there. Okay, so step 1, you want to line up the top mounting bracket. Grab your longest bolt from before, which is that one there. You can throw it through there now, and you'll actually use the bolt itself kind of like a clothesline. Hang the alternator there. You want to just wiggle the alternator like that, allowing the nut to take thread. As you can see there, my bolt has actually taken up the weight. At this point, it's important that we chuck the positive wire off the alternator back onto the positive terminal. So here it is here. You want to put that back on like that, you see how the alternator can still twist? That allows us to get the little nut through there. Just be careful not to drop it, and obviously tighten it up. Point, guys, you can now move to putting your 2 bottom bolts in. Just doing one at a time. Once you get one, the other one will happen easy. Okay, so once you've done those 2 bottom ones, we're going to first tighten the top one to where it's not completely tight, but it's quite in. Then we're going to do the bottom ones. Obviously you can hear that my rattle gun gets it to as tight as it can get it. Then we're obviously going to start on the bottom one by hand, putting a bit of torsion into them, one at a time. Got one there, and obviously the second one. There we go, nice and tight, and finishing here at the 3rd one. There we go. Okay, let's put our alternator plug back on. Alternator plug's back on. Now it's time to do your fan belt. So you want to bring your fan belt back out to play, like that. You want to make sure that all the pulleys down below are still back on. You want to take it off your power steering pump, put it on the alternator so that it's all lined up down below, and then obviously same process as before. You line up the pump like that, you pull back on your bar. You can actually kind of weave the pump and belt past, and not letting go of that bar until you confirm by looking straight down that everything is lined up, and that's actually alternator complete. Now we won't forget to bring our high pressure pipe back from over this direction. You want to confirm that the O-ring is either on the end of this or in there. Mine's just there. Tucking that back in nicely. We obviously grab the 10mm from the beginning, which is this one here. You obviously tuck that in there. Grab your 10mm. Not too tight. That is a plastic little fitting there. You don't want it too tight. At this point, guys, you're welcome to put your positive battery terminal back on. Okay, so now that we've finished the alternator job, we obviously put our fan shroud back into the spot. We plug the 2 plugs on each side. We put our front radiator hose back on like this, coming from the bottom usually. Kind of just want to weasel it on like that. Bring it forward like that, squeezing it, and then allowing it to take pressure on that radiator. Alrighty guys, all done. We've chucked an alternator on this K24 motor. Now remember, this tutorial will work for the Honda Accord, Honda CR-V, and the Honda Odyssey, as they are all the same alternator. Oh, I know what it is, Honda Civic. It also fits a Honda Civic, 2.4 litre, 2 litre Civic, but very, very similar design. It's a funny one, it's an import from overseas. It also fits that, so yeah. Now, remember, this product's available on our website, www.partsfactoryoz.com.au. If you could give us a like, subscribe, awesome, supports the channel, helps me produce more videos like this. Oh, one more thing, on the website we also have downloadable text PDF instructions and audiobook instructions as well for this exact type of thing. You can either choose to watch, listen, or read, which is pretty cool. Head on over to that, and yeah, look, if you are interested in this kind of video, chuck a comment down below, show me your support. I'll push obviously many more videos, as many as I can get or get done this year. Oh, big shout out to Bargain Spares Auto Wreckers on the Gold Coast for donating or allowing me to use rather their cars for these installation tutorials. Without the lovely team at that shop, I wouldn't be able to do these types of fits wouldn't benefit me, wouldn't benefit you guys. So look, big shout out to them. They're on the Gold Coast. If you ever need any second-hand car parts, or you're looking to get cash for your car, not running, blown up, smash, crash, whatever, it'd be awesome if you could hit them up, guys. They're our lovely team, and yeah, look, they probably have a larger selection of car parts than I do, considering they have literally thousands of cars here on the Gold Coast, which is absolutely incredible. But anyway, guys, I'm Lucas Drabsch, and thanks for watching another tutorial from Parts Factory Australia. I do really appreciate it. Have a lovely evening. Thank you. Bye bye.